Welcome to the attachments.
Episode 2,
Real
Real Talk.
talk.
So a lot of things I've already seen from the past podcast that we released is one, I have a tendency to jump with the speaker, the microphone, and that kind of cuts out my voice a little bit. So that's my apologies with that.
How are you guys doing today?
That too.
Yes. How are you?
Should I worry about our people?
Of course. You want to know how you're doing? Let us know.
Comments, tell us your thoughts on the last video, tell us your thoughts on this video, suggestions. Just, come with everything. We want to hear it.
100%. So this segment is gonna be called Real Talk because it's just kind of we want to sit down and have a little intimate conversation about certain things,
Very intimate. Sorry.
and that's what we're gonna do for sure. So I guess today we're gonna be talking about dreams, goals, aspirations, believing in yourself,
100%.
and how to deal with people who doubt you.
100%. And, for starting, it's definitely like believing in yourself no matter what. I feel like that's the first thing you should always be doing.
100%.
There will be so many doubts all the time and so many people. You might even doubt yourself at certain points, but like ultimately, not being able to believe in yourself will destroy every dream or goal you have before it even starts.
So you are your own worst enemy.
100%.
Believe in yourself.
If you're sitting there and saying, "What are the odds? No way that happens for me. This, and that," like,
Dude, this is so. Bro, but it is the biggest pet peeve when people say that to me. What are the odds? What are the chances you do that?
I mean, 100%.
I think that's one of the worst things you can say to someone who's trying to do something for themselves.
Especially if it's a passion or something that they can be, successful
Exactly.
and really
That
interested in.
like when I hear that, that's the biggest thing that just makes me so. And I'm gonna be so like honest with you guys. It makes me mad. It makes me angry at the person who says it. And that was one thing I kind of wanted to say is when you have a situation like this, whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to aspire, and people come at you doubting you and stuff like that. Sometimes you have to almost think in a toxic way. I know that sounds bad, but sometimes to motivate yourself, you need to kind of sit there and be like, okay, well, one day I'm going to be doing great things and you're not. So, even if that's not true, even if that's not how you want it to play out, sometimes you have to think kind of toxically just so you can ha- sort of have an ego.
So I mean, yeah, most successful people have an ego. They have a complex, like I'm just better complex, and not because some of them do genuinely think that they are like
Yeah.
just better. I'm not gonna lie, but a lot of them it's also you need to believe that no matter what, like you are the best because that drive pushes you forward. You don't think Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, like they weren't in the gym saying, "I'm the best there is. I'm the best. I'm the best." That unrealistic confidence
Yeah.
says what turns the unrealistic goals realistic. So,
100%.
you being able to tell yourself, you know what, at the end of the day, I can only trust me. I can only, work my butt off for myself. It is only me in this jungle. Because, to an extent, when it's you and your thoughts, it is nobody but you there. I mean,
That's tough.
it's only you. You're fighting yourself. And it just comes down to, are you going to break your mind and make it align for what you need? Or are you going to, let it win? Because, your brain is going to bring out the worst parts of it, the family and friends who doubt you and aren't going to be there for you, but, give you the half ass, like, oh, I hope you can do it. Because at the end of the day, I respect them for trying to be supportive, but in my opinion, I don't know if this goes for anybody else. I would much rather be told I don't think you can do it, because for me, like, either support me or don't support me, but either way, be like sit down on your answer,
Mm.
just because, like,
Be honest.
for me, if I don't have
Stand on it.
literally stand on it, stand on business, cuh. But like I want to just Jesus. I want to be able to be like, you know what? Nobody believes in me. Let me pull it off. Let me show them why they need, like, why they're
100%. I think there's something good and balanced though of having at least someone that believes in you
100%.
and
You do
supports
need
you.
somebody at the end of the day that would be nice. You know, it would always be nice, but at the end of the day, you got to remember if no one there is there for you, that does not mean give up. So that just means that you have
100%.
one more person to show,
Yeah.
to know that you can do it.
I think having like whether it's a girlfriend or a best friend or something that you can kind of get more intimate and deep with and talk about your faults and this and that and your because you can't talk about what you're scared of or if you're scared of failing with someone who doubts you. You you,
100%
you
because
can't.
they'll be like, you know what? I think that's the realistic part of you talking. Like, listen to them,
Exactly.
type of thing.
And that's one thing is there's going to be so many people who try to put it down nice and sweet while they're literally just trying to shove negativity in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to try to put it down nice and sweet where it's like,
It's
I
manageable.
just think I just think you like just be smart, just be smart. Like it's all negativity whether they put it down nice or not.
100%.
You know,
I'm not gonna lie and say
take risks.
I'm not gonna lie and say there aren't times that you don't doubt yourself. Like, I mean,
100%.
it's definitely moments, when you're in the bed just staring at the ceiling at night and you're sitting there and well, even for me, with my dreams and my passions and stuff like that, like there'll be times where I sit there, I'm just like, can I really achieve it? Like,
100%.
like what should I be doing? Just as like a bad. Like there are other times where my brain starts to wander, but I'm not going to lie to you. Every time I get into a thought process like that, the other part of my brain like overrides it immediately, and it just goes like, there is no other solution. There is no other plan. I mean, like any other jobs or anything that you're doing right now as a side is to make way for your passion. DDG said something that I really agree with. He was like, your 9 to 5 should only be funding your dream job or your dream business or your dream, whatever. And I believe in that 100% because, like, granted, yes, we obviously have jobs, but at the same time, it's like those jobs are so I can live, so I can then do my passion. Like, I genuinely don't care if I get paid $1 off YouTube or I get paid $10 off YouTube, like a month, a year, whatever. But just the act of seeing that a certain amount of people genuinely like my content and just like our shows and our podcasts. Like I said, there's so much more coming, but just seeing people
Getting
like
that
that.
kind of reach, it's
Exactly.
such a dream
It
come
makes
true.
the dream and the drive worth it.
Makes it
Because
a
I mean,
reality.
I've already said my first check ever from content creation on YouTube, whether it's $1, so or $1,000, like I'm doubling down so fast
Yeah.
because for me that tells me that the dream is attainable. So, like I am waiting for, I guess, a go ahead in that sense compared to other things, but there will definitely, no matter what, be times where I know even the best streamers or the best content creators or the richest, whatever the people are. Like I know there's been times where they're like, dude, like, can we do this? Like, oh, I'm busy this day, we can't record this day. Oh, we haven't posted in a month. But there's going to be days where you fall off and wonder if it's worth it. There's going to be,
Yeah.
we might release 300 of these episodes and not get a single view on any one of them. Like it's possible, but
100%. But you got to keep going.
it's just that
Keep
passion,
trying
that
different
drive.
things.
You have to be unrealistically insane about your success to make it a reality. Like, again, the 1% is not a 1% because everybody just didn't feel like doing it. It's, no, that's exactly why it's 1%. No one else felt like doing it or
Yeah.
like felt like they could do it. They didn't have confidence in themselves. So, they said, you know what? Working here is more safe. It's more reliable. I know more about this thing. I'm not going to step out on a whim and try something new.
Yeah. And that's, I you see so many people in the world that did that. And for some, it worked out. And that is amazing.
100%. I mean,
But
we
for a
need
lot of
people. We
them,
need all those people. 100%.
for a lot of people who have those big dreams and big goals and they just, kind of let me play it safe, they're so miserable
Hmm.
right now.
So they just kind of accepted that this is life and this is what they have to do. So I mean, and I understand that fully, like because sometimes you need
And that hit
some
fast.
yeah, sometimes life hits you and you need to become realistic with your dreams and goals, and like in a sense of if I'm a if I get a woman, if me and my girlfriend get pregnant, or if I get a girlfriend and she's pregnant, whatever. So and I'm like, okay, I need reliable, stable money right now. I'm gonna go get this warehouse job. Like,
Mm.
yes, that's something that I would do, but I would also never stop chasing my goals. So that's the thing. People get hit with life and just decide, like, let's stop. Let's stop chasing our goals. Um,
And
and
we
I don't
can't do
agree with
that.
that. I don't
I
agree with that.
remember when I first started to, get bills and, get responsibilities where it now created all the money I was getting paid before was fun money. I
Mhm.
had,
100%.
it was fun money, and when it started to become
Not so much fun money.
right, you couldn't have that fun. You didn't have that money for fun. It was almost like, okay, I need to shut up. I need to work harder at this 9 to 5. I need to, you know, I need to but at the same time, I didn't let that take control.
100%.
Like I'm thinking in my head, this 9 to 5 ain't cutting it.
I need to up the ante.
I need to update it. I need to start
Like,
chasing my dreams.
yeah.
Why haven't I? You know?
So,
And so that's take that first step. I know how scary it is. Trust me. I know how scary it is. That's what kept me from doing it for years. God bless you. And
God is feeling
and that's what kept me from it for years, and I regret it. Like I'm taking that step
100%.
now.
100%. I mean, you're younger than me, so it's better. Like, I've had the same type of goals and passions, and
I'm
I've
gonna turn
squandered
that
extra
drone
time.
back off.
Literally, please. But just secondly, it's like
Sorry.
another thing that I have in there is let the doubt people have in you be your fuel. That ignition
Yeah.
to spark that success, and you should let that doubt be the goal to prove them wrong. So actually, side note, I love how people have to write on Starbucks cups now.
I love it.
They wrote enjoy. So she got a smiley face,
I
which is
got
like
enjoyed with a smiley
it
face.
gets to a point
They
like
like me
like
better.
I don't know why, but whatever. So I barely like you. No, I'm joking. But so, I mean, it's just like let that be your spark, your fuel to continue. Because like I mean, if that goes back to my point I was saying earlier, is if people don't believe in me, I would just much rather want them to just openly say it, because now I want to prove them wrong that much more.
Yeah.
And then the people who believe in me is like, I want to show you that your faith in me meant something by pushing myself harder to get to that goal.
I really like that. I
Like
really like that.
any type of negative or positive, things, thank you, you can, change into fuel for your success. I think it ultimately just comes down to how you interpret it and how you want from it. That's why I genuinely don't like anybody being lukewarm in anything in life. I don't like anybody being lukewarm with anything in life. So rather that's, aspirations, business, faith, whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
Like, being lukewarm is just never the solution. So if you're
Yeah.
not going to support me, or you're not going to be there for me, like, be unapologetically you, respectable for sure. I'm gonna respect your decision, as a
Yeah.
person, regardless of how you
I'm gonna
sway.
respect you more if you
That's
are.
still gonna make me want to like prove you wrong
Yeah. Oh, of
though.
course,
Like,
of course. So,
also, you see us peeking down just because we did write out like spots we wanted to hit specifically.
yeah.
Like, we want this to be a free conversation, but we also don't want to miss things. So
So one thing I wanted to touch on is how sometimes
it was an early morning. I'm sorry, I'm tired.
it is. No, yeah, I'm
It's
fumbling
not
my
like
words a little bit. Like it's
it's
pretty
bad.
early. Um, Sometimes you have to kind of do what you're doing in private or keep it from certain people
Hundred
because
percent.
when like, and that's a very smart thing to do. Don't feel bad for keeping it from people because you're being smart. If you know someone's going to bring negativity into it and push you down and doubt you and you want to hide it from them, that's 100% okay, you know? And sometimes there's going to be situations where you have to hide it.
Yeah. So a lot of there's like that one analogy that I love, where it's like the tip of the iceberg is like the success, and then it's like that entire glacier underneath the waters. That's And that's another thing that people don't realize, with anything that comes in life, even even to an extent, a normal 9 to 5 jobs, when people walk in new and they're like, how are you making this much an hour? And, I'm stuck at this money. And they're like, well, I was here, I put this work in. Like,
Yeah.
people aren't going to see the times we spend up all night just, talking or thinking about different ways to be successful. The times where, you're depressed or stressed or maybe even like crying, just like being there, being like, I don't know what to do, all the motivation you're doing, everything you're fighting in your mental, no one's going to see that. What they will see is a success and then be like, oh, well, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And then try for 1 or 2 days, don't get the success that they want to reach, and then quit. And that's what separates the 99 from the one. Like,
I do want to ask you a question. I was just
sure, sure.
thinking about it.
Yeah,
One of the things that I struggle with so much is I know for a fact that like it is kind of smarter to put your head down and you know just kind of not really tell people about the struggle while you're in it.
right.
And I feel like for me, I struggle to do that. I'm always talking to my friends. I'm always, the struggle that I'm going with. Everybody sees it, and the struggle that it takes to, put out videos and this and that. Like, I struggle with
Yeah,
keeping that between us.
right.
And I want to know if you also struggle with the same thing, if that's something that, keeping it a secret,
So I mean,
basically.
sometimes like there are certain people I want to tell about things, obviously, and there are like certain friends or family I specifically keep things away from, obviously, just because like I know how they are, how they are thinkers. I know that that wouldn't be a good thing for me to do. Just kind of like let them in because they're just going to gossip or just talk shit, and I don't want to
Mhm.
hear that. Um, but it is hard for me a lot of times. But uh, a lot of my thought process as well is uh, how I would love to become successful in the dark, and then like show up and show out for friends and family and stuff
Yeah,
like that, and
that's the
be
goal.
there. So I mean, so if it's the goal, I'm like, I don't mind being quiet in the short term, to when in the long term it'll be better than anyone's ever can imagine.
Yeah, because I know that's like the goal is to just, pop out one summer randomly. You got all this money, you got all these nice things. You can afford stuff finally, and it's just to be able to just pop out like that
And
is the
then
goal.
popping out, but like popping out from doing your passion. Like
Yeah, 100
we've
100%.
definitely popped out and stuff like that before, and from our jobs and things like that. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun, but at the end of the day, we hated going to work the next day or the next weekend or whatever the case may be. So I want to be successful being in my passion, and I will say as well, like I am getting more like comfortable with the camera,
100%.
kinda. So it's like I'm not used to. That's another thing that people don't talk about. Like all the things that you do off camera that you kind of contain on camera, or you become hyper aware of on camera. Like I remember shits and gigs. They were doing a segment talking about their insecurities. Like it was just a one off question, but then they're like, since being since creating content, like a lot of the insecurities have waned away, kind of. But then also in the same opposite sense, I will also say that watching some of our videos, sometimes I see things that I feel like weren't necessarily an insecurity of mine that like I'm hyper focusing on. I'm like, why is that like that?
So
Why
for
is
me,
this?
I'm usually the one to like, see a side angle and I don't like the way I look
Right.
and just not put the video up. With like TikToks and stuff like that. Like that's simple because it's a 15-second clip. But with the whole YouTube video, I kind of in my head is like, I really don't think anyone's gonna be like, oh, pointing out this or that. I
So I mean,
don't
every human
think.
is different. So I mean, realistically speaking, everybody
Yeah.
has flaws. Everybody has things that they're not proud of. So I mean, I feel like the ultimate goal is just being comfortable with those.
And most of the things that you sit there and you look at and you hyper focus on, people are they don't notice at all.
100%.
It's nothing to them. It's
And it's
normal.
just you because you're focusing on like any wrong thing at the time.
Yeah.
Also, I want to go. I kind of want to spin it back. It's weird. I'm spinning it back into the conversation that we were having. But um, like I mean, the only way you're not going to succeed is if you give up. You know, failure is never guaranteed until you say, I can't do it or I won't do it anymore. Like that's when you're guaranteed to not be successful or just not have your passion become your reality. And I keep saying successful in the sense of not arbitrary number or financial status, but just successful like mentally and emotionally. You know, some you could be a veterinarian and call yourself successful, and I'd be like, yeah, if that's your passion, you're successful in it.
Yes,
Some,
yes,
you know, you could
yes.
be a pilot, and that could be a thing.
Chase your passion.
Or you could be, trying to become a content creator, and that is ultimately like the passion and your goal. So yeah, at the end of the day, like when you hear me say successful, do not think like financially because some of the most successful people I've ever seen or I've ever known are the poorest people physically, like financially, but they're the richest people I've ever seen. They're truly happy, and that's something you can't buy. You can't buy
Rich in
true
faith.
happiness, rich in faith. Just full. Like, so I mean, that's something that I want to get to, regardless of the paycheck associated with it. You know, I'm not gonna act like money isn't something, because it is. But if I made $20 a month from this, and I was doing my dream, and I got to talk in front of people and be there for people and stuff like that, like I would gladly take that and only make that and be okay with that. But yeah, anyway, there is no non-success until you decide that you can't do it anymore. Like giving up on yourself is the worst thing you can do because you've let the haters win. You've let your mind win. You've said, you know what, these people are right. I can't do it. And to think like that is, I truly can't think of a worse thing than to have that happen to you. To just decide that I'm gonna just be like depressed, working inside of a warehouse for the rest of my life, or doing something that I don't want to do, strictly because people said it's what I should be doing. Um, it just seemed like I personally know that I couldn't do it. Like if you can, respect for you, but mentally I just know that I wouldn't be able to. Like I have been so depressed and like like just out of it with normal 9 to 5 jobs my entire life. I told my dad from the time I was a little kid, I've said this before, I was not going to be a 9 to 5 type of guy.
Yeah.
And I just, yeah, like I mean, ultimately, like I can never give up on myself because I feel like I'm giving up on the little me as well. Like I can't
Mm.
think about myself, 12 plus years in the future, so looking back at the little me that was, sitting at his grandma's kitchen table, dining room table, watching YouTube videos and saying, "Hey, buddy, I know that that's our dream. It's not gonna happen." Because
Man, that would suck.
I'm sorry, but I need you to, like get realistic and focus on your future real quick because when you grow up, you're gonna be like, you're not gonna be where you want to be.
I'm sorry, but
That's what
fuck that.
that's like I couldn't do it. That's what I'm saying. I could
Yeah.
never do it.
Something me and my girlfriend were talking about the other day
Right.
was how she kind of told me how she feels that money controls me.
Well, how
And
so?
well, she said that, which I sort of agree with, the way that I was raised and how I was brought up has almost made me idolize money a little bit and just think
Okay.
money, money, money.
Right.
Where, growing up I didn't have a lot of money,
Right.
and I always felt like, and part of me still does feel like money is the only way to become free, happy. And I know it's not. I know that it's not the only way. God is that way. But there's still like so many like, sorry, I keep saying like, there's so many downsides to not having money.
Realistically, anything that you can do without money, money makes easier.
Yeah, 100%.
Like
And well, we were having that conversation, and we came to, now this is kind of off topic, but not really. I mean, it has to do with money, all the whatever. It kind of came down to, what would you choose? Would you choose to be poor and in love, or rich and alone? And I think you don't need to be rich and alone. I think sometimes, yes, you need to lock in with yourself and you just gotta like pin straight on the goal what you're doing. But in this scenario, like, I guess you as a person being my best friend and doing this with me has kind of made me look at it like get someone that wants the same exact thing. Get someone that has that drive that you have, and you're not alone. We're
Right.
we're doing this together, and I feel like so with the gym,
Because
with
guys, we're literally
this,
going to pop a workout directly after this video.
yeah, with the gym and with this, I didn't get in the gym until you, because I finally had someone to go with. You know, I didn't set up a camera and well, when I was like 5, but please don't look up those videos. Um, God, um,
Exposing yourself is crazy.
without you, like, I probably would have never set up this camera. You know, like, anyways, I'm kind of rambling and going like so off topic. It's just something that you always have. My point is that you always have to make sure that your eyes are on the prize, but don't lose track of what is around you, and don't lose grip of like of the things that do matter. Like for me personally, my friends matter so much. My friends and my family matter so much to me, and if I were to, lock in so hard that I stop seeing my friends, I stop giving them the time of
I've
day.
literally did that before. It turns out that it's not actually a smart thing to do. A lot of people don't like you because of that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and
and
I
it's
honestly
like
I feel like that's good and bad for certain reasons, but I'll get into that in a
I
second.
know what you're saying. The fact that like if they're not there
I
supporting
mean,
the fact that you're
to
grinding,
that, but also just like understanding, or just like I have my friends who saw me going through that part of my life. I guess like as soon as I got out of high school, and they were some of them were a little bit put off, but they're like like you got to lock in. Um,
yeah,
and some of them were like, oh, he's an a hole, like this, and that. And it's not so much because I was doing anything rude or disrespectful to them. It's just like I was like, I don't have time for this. Like I was like, hey, look, if you want to spend time together, like that's fine. Like
hey, I'm
let
so
me know.
sorry. There's a spider on my
Oh, I see that.
mirror, and it's like its web is like flying in the wind.
Bro's just vibing. Let him
Yeah.
vibe. But
Anyways, sorry.
like,
Continue.
dude, also like I was like, if you want to hang out, like I need a week's notice so I can get off work for it. Like I work every day. I'm working 90 plus hours a week. Like that was like when I was working like that,
Yeah.
I was working insane. And for the people who did obviously like leave, I wish them nothing. I wish anybody who's left my life in a good or bad way.
Nothing but the
I've
best.
nothing but the best, because at the end of the day, I mean, I know that I'm not the best human being there is, and I'm not perfect or anything like that. So me holding like these artificial grudges and like these expectations for people to be perfect, it's just not going to be it's just not going to be reliable. But also something that you were saying about being able to focus on what's also in front of you, it kind of brings back to that old analogy that's like, and there's a reason why the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror, because I don't your past
I
your
love that.
your past of you not having things, or you not being where you thought you should have been in life, shouldn't be the dictatorship like that. Those issues, solving those issues shouldn't be giving you the status of success or non-success.
I get like I say give yourself one singular
Mhm.
time to look back and go, okay. And then you're going forward.
Right, because being like I'm doing this and this for the times I didn't have it. You can't change little Bella, and I can't change little Steve, and
By the
we
way,
never upped our names.
yes, I'm Bella.
I'm Steven.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all. Sorry about that. Jesus, because we were thinking about that a couple of days ago, and so I was like, we should probably say that, and then we just never did. Um, but yeah, so um,
It's good.
you're not going to be able to change little Bella and little Steve's experience. Like that stuff already happened. We already lived through that reality. The only thing we can do now is, because we're both such family oriented people,
Hmm.
and like just like family driven people. That's like, for me, as long as I set my kids up, I'm okay. I'll do whatever I need to do. So, obviously I have my passion and I have my goals, but in the likelihood that something somehow does not work in an off reality, so that it doesn't work out, um, my kids will have the absolute best. Just, I cannot.
I want to make sure if I can't give us all the perfect life, I want them to have it. If I'm
100%.
miserable and my kids are happy, I'm happy.
That's fine. Like, they will never know
Yeah.
the weight I'm carrying to make sure that they don't have
Yes.
to feel it.
100%.
Then that's another thing I want to say to some people who are worried about if their passions or their dreams are really their dreams. Is if you find yourself constantly dreaming or thinking about it or jotting down plans or ideas or watching YouTube videos or YouTube University. But if you if you ever find yourself like just constantly like focusing on certain passions or goals or whatever, it's like that for a reason. Like, it's on your mind for a reason. You're not just randomly thinking about, becoming a veterinarian every single day or, multiple times a week, multiple months, years on years. Like, so no, it's a reason why that's there. You're
Yeah.
not thinking that heavily on it and watching YouTube videos about what to expect, becoming a veterinarian and this and that, just to do it for fun. Like, it's your passion, it's your goal. So I don't think you should be kicking it to the side strictly because you're not sure if you can do it. You're not
Mm.
sure if people will have faith in you to become it. Like, at the end of the day, like, again, at the end of the day, the only thing that can stop you is you.
I like that.
So
That gives me a lot of like almost clarification for me. Like the first thing you were saying about how um my mind is literally blanking right now. I
right,
You were saying um
something like what I was just saying
yes, literally
about,
what you were just saying.
like, like, your passions aren't passions for no reason.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's it. That gives me a lot of hope because it's like I've always that's exactly how you explained it. I've always been jotting stuff down. I've always been researching certain things about like entrepreneurial things, and there's always been that voice in the back of my head. Why, like, am I just following a trend? Am I just like what
Right.
am I
So I'm not
doing?
trying to be like everybody else on YouTube.
But
I'm not.
I've been doing that since I can remember. So for you saying that, that honestly that gives me hope and me
100%.
clarification. So that's cool.
There's no problem. I mean, because at the end of the day, like, I see people like, like Lacey and Neon, and granted they were doing funny, stupid things to, become successful or whatever. But at the end of the day, that was their passion. They made their dreams a reality. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
and
They did that.
to see that happen, it really does speak to, like, anybody can become anything they want just strictly with um, putting themselves out there and really, like, doing whatever, like, they can. Like, I'm putting this out there now. My dream collab. I would love to, like, blow up fireworks in, like, Kai's room or something, or like some
Oh, Kaisen is
like
everyone's
Kai's in
dream
that, or like
collab.
some, honestly, like, Zero
Like,
Ronaldo is a really cool dude. Like, I find him, funny a lot. Those are, like, probably like my dream collabs out there in general.
I'd
But
say
um,
I'd say
yeah,
Kaisenet,
nice.
obviously. Like come on.
He's just like, he's so funny.
And then
Raekwon.
to be honest, working with the basement yard or shits and gigs,
So look, bro, if we were to ever work with, like, shits and gigs, I would shit myself. Like,
yeah, you'd definitely be shitting your pants and giggling.
100%. Like,
So
I'd be crying
no,
laughing.
yeah, 100%, dude.
Honestly, I would
Dude,
go to the UK just for
yeah, those are like
that. Eat some beans
some
and
of
toast.
mine. But like obviously Kaisenet is just like
He's a
I've
top. He's a dog. He's a top dog.
yeah,
So I mean,
and
everybody wants to be after him, but I love his journey.
not just
Yeah,
because he is the biggest right now. That's not
100%.
why I say that. I say that because like dude, he has fun.
Yeah. So I looked up
He
to
does
AMP
fun
before he got to
things.
that top. I was like, oh my gosh, like, a person that is very similar to me. So I'm just like a successful thing, like seeing Kai and AMP, like, reach their level of success and, just be like, I'm again, I'm not a fly on the wall, so I don't know behind when the camera's off. How happy they are and how
100%.
set up they are in life. 'Cause I feel like that's something that people also don't know. Says just because you're making money or you appear happy on the internet does not mean that um that's your thing. Like you're just truly happy in that. That's why a lot of streamers, like all of a sudden end up in mental hospitals or they end up unaliving. And if you are thinking of self harm, please reach out to somebody. So anyway, got to throw that out there. But
Of course.
I mean, you are not alone. Reach out.
Yes.
Um. So, but yeah, no. So, but from what they show, like obviously they're very happy and they're very content, in their life. And I mean, just seeing somebody like I watched his journey. I watched a lot of people's journey, and like only reason why I didn't say typical gamers because I cannot play Fortnite as good as that man. Then I would just get washed to do it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have a 9 to 5. No, 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 literally, just like
Pulling the I have a job card is crazy on typical gamer.
I do, bro. Like, I mean, if your job is to play games, and that's so
I
cool.
wish that
So I
that's
mean,
one of my dreams too.
it
Like,
was one of my dreams too.
yeah.
But
So I think the main thing, we ramble. That's something we do. You're gonna see it. We
all
get
the time,
sidetracked.
all the time.
He has a lot of ADHD. I have a little. So
So I have a little.
you know, it's gonna be kind of crazy sometimes. But I think the main thing is don't be scared to chase your dream. Like
100%.
there's gonna be a million obstacles. Overcome them. Do what you can and more.
Like Mount Everest was once believed to be unclimbable. So now
Exactly.
there's tens of people who've climbed it. So
Yeah.
it just takes a different type of person. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Do your own thing.
it's sort of David Goggins type of motivation. Some low key, David Goggins. I'll let you put me through like a week of hell. Like
100%.
I mean, I think I'll throw up and cry and not want to do it at all. But
Definitely.
and after running about 5 miles, I probably want to But so
I don't know.
you
I wouldn't
know,
even last five, bro.
I
One,
can't
I'd
do
be
it. So I
but
mean,
no.
yeah, I just want to do it.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be fun. Um, but yeah, just you know, dang. Sorry, Do you see how the bottom of her car is like? She couldn't go up an inch, bro.
So yeah,
Sorry. That's
she almost got single,
we're in the
became
gym
single.
parking lot
That's
right
right,
now
and
filming this, so there's
I'm
people around.
seeing pedestrians
Yeah,
in the
pedestrian
wild,
civilians.
civilians in the wild.
And basically, yeah, just don't don't let people doubt you. Actually, scratch that. People are gonna doubt you no matter what. Don't
Don't
let
let
that
their doubt
control
stop
you.
you.
Don't let it control you.
100%.
Don't let things control you, whatever it is, because there can be many things in your life that have control over you that that they shouldn't have control.
I
And
mean,
maybe
yeah,
for some
people only
people
have
it's
as much
money.
power over you as you allow.
Exactly. Don't allow it. Don't let it happen. You know, stick to the game plan.
You must lock in. Like,
Tee up, gang.
I do think it's also very important. I would say that why I do have it on my mind is jot out short term and long term goals. I know this sounds so corny, and I know everybody who says it says this sounds so corny because it does. But again, especially with like ADHD, like for people like us, like I know that there's always like so many different things, on your mind, and we think about everything that we want to do and that we're going to do. But it's at the same time that also causes things to be prioritized out of order and also slip our mind a lot, which makes it nearly impossible. I do think there should be like I don't like using the word realistic, but I do like think there should be some realistic short term and then long term goals, and then like obviously like don't quit your job and try to become a professional skateboarder when you skateboarded twice in your life. So no, like
100%.
if you are I love analogies. That's another thing with me. Like so I'll pull
Yeah,
them out
he
of my
does.
butt.
He throws them. He throws them so much in every situation.
I
I
mean, but
swear.
it fits. It fits.
Yeah. Oh, it always fits. It always
I
fits.
mean, yeah. But no. Anyway,
What?
so nothing. So you'll see when we watch it back. So, but so, I mean, so yeah, no, like if I'm gonna become a professional skateboarder, and I've never skateboarded a day in my life. So I'm still going to keep my job. I'm still going to, go buy things, but I'm still going to. My equipment is going to progress as I progress. My skills are going to progress with time. Like, so I'm not going to just like go try to become, I don't know, professional skateboard
Door
competitions. But
dashing to the gym is crazy
don't
work.
say you swear. But so I'm not going to
Wow.
like I'm not going to go join a professional skateboarders league, and I don't know how to ride, or do any type of like any type of moves at all. So, so with content creation or veterinary school, like you're not going to become a vet by just walking up to people's dogs and start touching on them. Like, hello. So
Put that work in.
exactly. So, like
But
if you're a vet, go take the classes, go get your certificate, take the steps in order for content creation. Like do what you can, push your name out there, push your brand out there, get yourself out there, and then over the course of time, build your success accordingly to your followings and your reputation. Just mediate and be responsible. Lay out your, like I said, realistic 3, 6, 9 month, year, 5 year goals. If you can hit some of those longer goals shorter, then do so. And if you cannot, then keep it on the game plan. So, but the thing about being realistic with the short term goals compared to the long term ones is more often than not, the short terms only require you to change one or two things or act a certain way for a certain amount of time, where the long term ones are built upon you completing the short term ones.
yeah,
So, I mean, I just want to throw that out there as well. But ultimately, this was our real talk, just kind
yeah.
of like as far as
This is what
being
this
successful.
segment's gonna feel like. It's just
I
like a
mean, yeah.
conversation talking about something.
So I mean, we have different little segments that
I'm parched.
we're still cooking, we're still working on. So you're going to see a lot more of that. Also, let us know how we sound. If our voice is a little bit too monotone, too loud, too quiet, we can adjust that as well. But yeah,
Hey,
this is.
if we gotta get new mics, just tell us. Be rude about it. Be like,
I
yo,
mean,
you
so
gotta
you got
get
to
a new mic.
upgrade. So I
Like,
mean, but hearing somebody say you need to upgrade lets me know that you want to stick around and watch more content. So we'll definitely, like take that as a real investment and do it. But yeah, no, like this is our real talk. Today was, like we said at the very beginning, just more about being able to manage your haters, your believers, your doubters, being able to believe in yourself and just sitting there because at the end of the day, again, people would not. There's so many people who would never be where they are unless they, decided to be different. Rosa Parks, Leo Scapi, Martin Luther King, every known person did something that people said that they couldn't do. What?
it's so funny you bring up Rosa Parks.
Bro, because they're like, move. She's like, nah. So
Like,
I mean,
nah,
like literally, she just said,
nah,
nah.
nah.
I ain't fucking with that. I mean, and then they're like,
And it's
damn.
such a casual thing. Like people do that all the time
So I
now.
mean, and
No, so
then
new.
then now she's famous.
I'm not about to ramble on
But
about
yeah.
Rosa
So
Parks.
I mean, literally, like, fun fact, fun fact. Rosa Parks was old enough to see like. So, I mean, I think it was like one of like the Shrek movies or whatever. She was alive when Shrek was released. I mean, so like they tried to make her seem like she was like ancient, bro. She was not that old. When it happened. It was like the mid 1950s, 60s, or whatever. I think. I don't know. Don't quote me. Barely graduated. But
Wait, that's actually blowing my mind.
I mean,
Like
yeah,
Rosa Parks probably saw Shrek.
100%.
Wow,
And not to mention that, I
that
think
blows my
like,
mind.
I
Look,
think
I'm
like,
uneducated here.
I think that like Beethoven and like Picasso were alive at the same time.
Okay,
Something or something like
we are really
that.
rambling
But so
off
yeah. So
into.
anyway, like
No, that was real talk.
everybody does things that they were once like. Then people didn't think that was once possible. I mean, again, that's why they're the 1%.
Yeah,
But
chase your dreams, live it
right,
up.
but live it up. That was real talk with the attachments.
Yep.
It's been real.
Of course.